We're joined now by our new OSU Extension entomologist, Dr. Ashleigh Faris. And Ashleigh, before we jump into that new corn disease, you're actually new to the university, so tell us a little bit more about yourself.
Sure. So I'm coming from Texas A&M University, and there I was a teaching professor in the entomology department, but my background prior to that was in field crop insects. So I worked in South Texas with Texas A&M AgriLife at the research station there in Corpus Christi with the invasive sorghum aphid, then known as the sugarcane aphid, and all the natural enemies associated with that pest.
And your husband is actually our new livestock entomologist as well.
So Dr. Jonathan Kamak is my husband, and so he's having an exciting time right now working with the Asian longhorn tick. But we're both enjoying our time here in Oklahoma and feel pretty welcome. So
and
thanks.
He's on later in the show, and we'll learn more about that. So let's dive right into it. We just heard from Mara with this. Is it the leafhopper? Is that what it's called?
Yes. So we have the corn leafhopper. The scientific name is going to be Dabolis matus. So the adult insect is going to be yellow in color. Their size is pretty small, as we'll see with some of the samples from the spore trap. But when we're looking for this insect, it's hard to notice because it likes to hide in the shade, and it will actually hide on the underside of leaves, sometimes along in the venation of the leaf itself too. Other things to notice about it, the nymphs they're going to be light green in color, and the eggs, unfortunately, they're not going to be able to be seen by the naked eye. And so the thing with this pest is that it comes up through wind-aided movement from Mexico, and it can actually travel quite a distance on its own through flight.
So, as Mara mentioned, the way that this vector spreads this disease is actually quite interesting. So talk a little bit more about that.
So whenever this vector feeds this corn leafhopper, what it does is it feeds on the corn plant. So it actually can cause damage to our plants in two ways. It can actually suck out a lot of the nutrients and juices that it has inside of the plant, so that can cause problems for plant health. So when the insect feeds and it acquires the pathogen, it takes about 3 weeks before it's able then to transmit that pathogen to another corn plant.
As Mara mentioned, you're mainly seeing this in the panhandle right now in the state?
So we're seeing the insect in the panhandle right now. We're just starting to see early signs of it. So some of the fields that we've scouted a little bit further south and more central in the state, we've actually seen large populations of this insect vector. And when we've seen those populations, we were already also seeing signs of those disease. And so it can take 30 days after that insect that's infected feeds on the plant for those symptoms to show up in the plant. And so that's the tricky part, one of the challenges that we're facing.
And that's one of the many challenges with this insect, right? Because there's not really a management strategy to effectively deal with them.
Correct. So here in Oklahoma, we have a few different unique things about the state and how we actually work with our corn. So remember, this insect originated out of Mexico, and it's moved up here through wind-aided movement. And then if it's been found in Texas, which it has this season, here in Oklahoma, this is actually the first time we've documented it. So if we think about insect biology side, the female can actually lay anywhere between 5 to 15 of her eggs per day, and females can live for approximately about a month at a time. So she's already quite prolific in her reproduction. They only reproduce in corn, but they have the ability to actually overwinter in other types of grasses. So we're thinking about things like Johnson grass, gamma grasses, and we've also seen from the literature evidence that it may even overwinter in wheat. So those are just a couple of them. The other challenges we have, we really don't know much about what this insect is going to do in the state. So when we look at how management strategies occur south of us, in Mexico, they actually grow corn continuously. And so the way they're managing this insect is per crop, they're spraying 5 to 6 times. And that economically is not viable. And that's also likely what's leading to some of the resistance problems that they're seeing in South America. So not something that we want to bring and see here in Oklahoma or even around the US.
So right now it does seem like it's kind of isolated, even though that there's not much of a management strategy, but you and your team are actually getting out in the state to still get out and look to see if the disease is popping up in other areas, right?
Definitely. So Dr. Dufek and I are actually going out. We're still monitoring for the insect so that we can see where it is establishing, where it has spread to. We're also looking for the signs of disease, and we're even going to be looking at ways that maybe this insect can persist in some of these overwintering habitats. One other thing to mention is that Cortiva Agrisciences, they've actually been doing some studies on the industry side of things to look at how effective and efficient the corn leafhopper is at being a vector. And And they've actually found that it could take maybe just 1 to 2 leafhoppers to actually cause severe problems in the field. So we don't know if that's going to hold true for here. We do know that there are other states in the US that have this leafhopper in the past. So California, Arizona, our neighbors in Arkansas, and also Florida and Louisiana. And I believe Mississippi is also where this insect has been found in the past too.
So it's something new, but definitely not new worldwide.
Correct. I think for us, what we can say is it has the potential to move northward, and Oklahoma just happened to be the next place that it moved to. And so one thing that Dr. Dufek and I talked about in our e-pest alert is considering that this might need to be an area-wide or regional type of management strategy to where we can help slow and possibly even reduce the spread any further north.
All right, thanks, Ashleigh. Dr. Ashleigh Faris, OSU Extension entomologist here at Oklahoma State University.